Hi everyone, congratulations on getting through Quadratics. It's a major achievement. I'm Shamila from Can Do Teach, and in this video I'm just going to be summarizing what we've covered in the last 9 or so videos on Quadratics. So we're going to be talking about all the techniques that we've done and particularly knowing when to use them. So as you're going through practicing your techniques, you tend to get stuck in that particular method. So you'll learn a method and then do a set of questions on that, and then learn another method and do a set of questions using that technique. But at the end, when you're just given a quadratic and they say solve it, you have to figure out for yourself which method you're going to use. So I'm going to take you through the kind of process that I go through when I'm deciding what to use. So the very first thing I do when I'm given a quadratic is that I make sure it's in the correct form. So I'm looking for the general form, so I've got everything in the correct order, the squared term, the x term, and the constant term, and it's equal to 0 if it's a solving question, otherwise it's equal to y. Alright, so I make sure that's the case, and if not, I rearrange it to get it to that form. Alright, the next thing I do is I actually use the discriminant to figure out how many solutions I'm looking for. So just to remind you, the discriminant is b squared minus 4ac, and that's the part inside the square root sign in the quadratic formula. Alright, so once I know the number of solutions, that decides my next step. So if I have no solutions, then I don't even have to bother. I can't solve it, so I just stop there. All right. If it has one solution, then I know it's going to be a perfect square, okay? Because our perfect square factorization always gave us exactly one solution. So I can go ahead and do my perfect square factorization, and then go to the null factor law and solve. If I have a positive discriminant, then I've got 2 solutions, and that's when I'll try and factorize. So that takes me to my next step of trying to factorize. Okay, so to factorize, the first thing I look for is a common factor. If I've got a common factor, I can just factorize that out, null factor law, solve. If I don't have a common factor, but I've only got 2 terms, I don't have the middle term with just the x, then I try and do difference of 2 squares. Alright, so difference of 2 squares was the one where we had something like x squared minus 9, and that gave us x minus 3, x plus 3. Okay, so, sorry, I wrote that in the wrong place. So that's a nice easy one if it comes out like that. If not, if I've got the 3 terms, then I look at whether it's monic or non-monic. So whether there is a number in front of the x squared or not. Alright, if it's monic, that's when I use my product sum factorization. So I look at the c term and I try and find 2 numbers that multiply to give c and add to give b. Okay, once I've got those, I can factorize, null factor law, solutions. Okay, if I can't do that, then I look at the b term, so the coefficient of the x, and if that's even, I'm going to try and do completing the square. Alright, once I've completed the square, I can either go back to my difference of 2 squares, and then null factor law, like factorize it and find the solutions, or I can solve it directly. And if you don't quite remember how to do that, you can go back to the completing the square video that I did earlier. Alrighty, so on the other hand, if I have a non-monic equation, so that's where I do have a number in front of my x squared, that's when factorization can be a little trickier. So I'll try my splitting the middle term method. That's where I find something that 2 numbers that multiply to give a times c and add to give b. Okay. Once I find those, I use those 2 numbers to split the middle term, group, factorize, and then solve. Okay? If that doesn't work, if I can't find the right factors and do the splitting the middle term, that's when I go on to quadratic formula. And that's it. That gets me to my solutions. So that's the process that I go through. You will be saying no to most of the steps. So once you say no, you go straight on to the next one. So you can practice using this flowchart as a kind of cheat sheet to remind you what to do next as you're trying to learn this. But once you've done a lot of practice of a mixture of quadratic questions, this should become kind of second nature. You should just know what to do next. All right, so have fun practicing that. Let me know if anything's unclear and you have any questions in the comments below. Otherwise, you can find me or other tutors at Can Do Teach for on-demand help. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.